My name's Sarah Hargraves. I'm the trustee and the secretary for Aniridia Network UK, and I thought I'd give you a quick run through of the agenda that we have in store for you. So we'll start off with a review of what's been happening over the year, and then we'll do a public and heartfelt thank you to everybody that's made things like today possible, either in terms of raising funds or actually in terms of getting out there and doing activities. We'll then move on to looking to, if you've got any burning questions at that point that you want to put to the trustees about what's been happening over the year, we can cover those. And then we'll start to move on to the volunteer roles that are available, either in respect of actually going out there and doing activities and doing things, being involved in the organisation at a more fundamental level, or actually even being a trustee. We'll get to the technical part of the meeting, which is actually the formal part, the legal part for the nomination and the election for trustees, and then possibly whether anybody wants to think about fulfilling any of the roles of an officer of the organisation, which doesn't have to be a trustee, but you just sort of have a responsibility for a particular field. And then at the end of all that, there's going to be an open questions, comments and suggestions section, whether you'd like to put forward any ideas for activities in the future, whether there's any particular focus you'd like to see for the organisation going forward, or again, one of those questions that springs to mind during the AGM. So, starting with a report from the trustees about what has been happening this year. We've done quite a few things. In terms of the communication side of things, we've seen a good number of newsletters. We've had 4 newsletters. Quite a large number of blog articles have been published during the year, 35 of those. The befriending scheme is going from strength to strength, and has had contact with 16 people with that. We've also had a large number of inquiries and been able to help people with any questions they've had on that. The Beautiful Passport scheme, as you've heard, has been developing and is running well. And the social media side of things, we've seen quite a fantastic growth in terms of online communications and general monitoring of 43.5%. We've done quite a lot of work on the IT side of things in terms of the website. It's been reviewed and the redesign work is underway and is indeed continuing, so that's going along very well. We've participated in research groups and also focus groups, as you were hearing from Alex Short this morning. Some of us have been involved with the stem cell feedback on that, and that was obviously quite an eye-opener and valuable to the community as well. And we've also had quite a major project from last year in terms of implementing the hospital leaflet that's been designed as well. This is designed to go into eye clinics and areas, often within hospitals and possibly within specialist practices, where aniridia might crop up once in a blue moon, but it's not generally known about, so it'll act as a bit of an educational device both for the practitioners and also in terms of newly diagnosed families that might have an inquiry and think, oh, I didn't know there was an organisation out there, so they might also be able to come and join us and get a bit of support. So we're looking into distributing that, which is obviously you heard about earlier as well. As Katie mentioned earlier, there's Aniridia Europe that's been quite busy in terms of liaison between different countries, different organisations, and also on the clinical side of things. There's the scientific committee that's had various proposals looked into for research, so they're ongoing, as well as the conferences, and also next year there's going to be a summer camp in northeast Italy, which there's 8 children places allocated in the summer camp and 2 adults from the UK to go and help organise it. So that's going to be quite a nice event coming up. In terms of our own events, obviously we've got events like today, the conference, and that's down to the help that we've received obviously from Heather in terms of coordinating it all, as well as the other people that have helped out today, either in terms of on the ground or in the background to make it possible. We've had a meetup in Bristol, and there's also an event was mentioned earlier today about Cornea Connect, which was a very good way of medical staff and patients getting together and sharing experience and knowledge. On the social media side of things, as I've indicated, there's been an awful lot of activity going on. Both our Twitter and our Facebook activities have increased an awful lot. We've now got 531 followers, and also we have 416 followers on Twitter. And there's been a lot of BI related organisations that have actually joined into us as well, so we're making very good connections in that environment. We continue to monitor the internet and data releases for mentions of Aniridia as well, so that we can make other connections either within the general environment or within the specialist community. It's been a very good year on the membership front. We've got quite a widespread in terms of the breakdown now. We've got 114 people with familial Aniridia on the database, 94 people with sporadic Aniridia, 87 people that unfortunately we're not quite sure whether it's familiar or sporadic, so they're definitely there, but we can't really attribute them to the group. And so we've got a nice big number of 295 people on the database that have Aniridia. There's also 31 people that also have MIGO, which is an associated condition, so it's nice to have the breadth of knowledge and experience on the membership. It's been estimated that there are 1,344 people in the UK that could have familiar based on the chances or the likelihood, the proportion of the population that could have Aniridia. So we're not doing too badly in terms of coverage, but there's obviously other people out there that could certainly maybe benefit from coming to events like this and sharing knowledge and possibly have something that they could give back to us as well. So we're keeping plugging away, and any time that Aniridia crops up on the internet and we get a location, then we try and make a delicate contact to see if they might be interested in getting in touch with us. So as you'll hear in more detail in a few minutes, the fundraising side this year has gone very well, and this is where we'd all like to sit on the board and as an organisation say a full and very heartfelt thanks to all the efforts that everybody's put into it. As you can see from the top of the slide, the fantastic amount of £1,000 that Ellie Chapel has donated through Shine a Light is absolutely amazing, and we're very grateful for that, but also we're also grateful for all the other efforts that people have put in, either in terms of Phil for doing a fantastic triathlon and raising £568. I know I certainly wouldn't relish the challenge, so I think that's an amazing achievement. Carol, Tristan and Mary Lewis raised £500 with their long distance bike ride. Charles did a cake sale and fun day at the Royal College in Worcester, which raised £168. Liz has done several collections at local events up in the northeast, which has raised £419, and we also received commission in terms of Give As You Live, and also obviously the reimbursement of the tax through gift aid, which is in 2013, as well as and so also last year's conference we raised £313 from t-shirts and raffle ticket sales, so it really does all add up. Very, very big thank you for all of that. So in terms of the regular income that we have 3 regular donators, and we've also received some one-off donations during the year. Members have raised funds in various different ways, which you'll hear more about in a few minutes. So again, thank you to everybody who's made those events possible, organised them or contributed to them in any way. So for those people that like numbers, these are our accounts for the year. Quite a significant increase in terms of the certainly the income for the 2013-14. Our biggest expense is obviously something like the conference, and I think these numbers demonstrate that. If anybody is a lover of numbers, we did have some paper copies of the accounts out on the information desk. Or if you want to receive a copy, then we can send them to you individually, but we do have them available if you'd like to see them. For those people that like the picture side of things, this is our breakdown of our expenses. The biggest chunk is the conference, obviously, because it is our main event of the year, so we do try to concentrate our efforts there and make sure everybody gets value for money for it. Obviously, last year, with it being held in London, it was certainly for us a fairly significant cost, so that's why it's taken up such a big chunk of the chart. The other parts of it are largely general running expenses. And the difference between 2012 and 2013, I think, in terms of our income is quite well demonstrated in terms of this graph. The donation side of this, particularly with the fundraising that's been done, and the donations, was made a very big difference this year. So, thank you again. So, we'd like to say a very big thank you to all the fundraisers that we've had this year, and do have a bit of a roll list of honour. So, where are we? Right, so firstly, in terms of all the behind the scenes work, Keith Spink's been doing fantastic work in sorting out our membership database and making sure that the information is accurate and well organised. In terms of the website work, the redesign and the ongoing development of that, that's down to Philip Stringfellow. The communication side of things is largely down to James, so that's obviously a very big part of it, so thank you for that. We've also had a lot of articles contributed by quite a number of people, including Victoria, Annette, Heather, Louise, James, me, Veronica, Liz, Martin and Charles. So that all helps, because obviously without the content to go on the website or in the newsletter, they wouldn't really exist or be as valuable as they are. It's all great content, and if anybody has a story to tell, then I'm sure we'd welcome that, and we can publish that when the opportunity is right. And but in terms of the other sort of harder copy things that we have, Francis Collins has been doing great work in terms of helping us to distribute our leaflets. Nikki has been quite a powerhouse within Leicester in terms of organising events and things there, so thank you for that. Also, the audio-visual side of things, so things like the setup today, the recordings that we had of last year's conference, that's all very valuable, and that's down to the help of Victoria, Katia, Andrew and Peter. Right. Obviously, an event like today doesn't happen on its own, and that's largely down to Heather, our conference coordinator. So, thank you very much for all the work that you put into that. In terms of the fundraising, there's obviously the coordinating of that and helping people with that. That's down to Liz Atkinson. So, thank you for that as well. Treasurer Nigel did very good work. Obviously, we've just seen sorting out the numbers side of things for the account, so sort of effectively a mental thank you to him for that, keeping that going. Jenny's been acting as a very good liaison with the WAGA community, and Katie's been doing great work keeping us up to date with the European side of things as well on the communications fund, so thank you for those contributions as well. They're all officer roles that have been very well fulfilled. Right. So, okay. The legal side of things, we need to have 3 trustees as a minimum, a chairperson, a secretary and a treasurer, but we can have up to 9. We've currently got 6, although 1 is a vacancy because of Nigel having to step down and resign. So the current trustees are Katie Atkinson as chair, Nigel Holstock was as treasurer for the year just gone, myself as secretary, and then James Buller, Jenny Langley and Liz Atkinson. We do have vacancies for, well, in theory, for totally another 3 people, so if anybody has thought about being trustees and wants to lend a hand, you can certainly put yourself forward in a few moments. But there's obviously, you've just seen from the areas that I've covered in the things, the activities that have been happening. There's lots of roles that go on, and you don't have to be an officer and do these sort of roles to be, or you don't have to be a trustee to do these roles or be an officer of Aniridia Network UK. You can just effectively wear one hat. Right. So all the people here, apart from Nigel, will be standing for election. Does anybody have any questions about the trustee board or the trustee position at the moment before I move on? Okay, thank you. Right, so the volunteer roles that are available, as I say, there's the 3 minimum trustees that we need to have. Conference and events is obviously an officer role that we need to have in order to do things like today or anything else that anybody has ideas for. Fundraising is obviously a valuable one to enable events like today and anything else that we may be able to support in the future. Membership, in terms of people getting in contact with us and then us being able to reciprocate, reach out, give them the information they might want to have in terms of contact, who to get in touch with within the organisation for what they're concerned about, and keeping in touch with them on an ongoing basis so they don't fall off the grid with us if they would like to be involved. Social media is quite a big area these days, whether it's in terms of Twitter or the website, so that's quite a significant thing for us. Volunteer coordination is another area where we certainly have a vacancy for at the moment, and is being sort of managed in tandem with a couple of other responsibilities, because people sometimes do want to help out us, but they don't want to be committed for a long term, perhaps only just a short term event. So knowing about those and being able to help them and basically being there for them is quite a valuable thing, and then we can feed it all into the information about the organisation as a whole, and that will help it run more efficiently. The communication side of things, in terms of public relations, working with other organisations is obviously a valuable one as well, because then we build a network, we build contacts, and we can help spread that information. Either if we receive it, we can deliver it on to other people, or we can help inform other people as well. That's also true with the liaison part of it with other groups such as WAGO, Aniridia Europe, and other VI organisations. And as I say, it doesn't have to be a long-term commitment as in terms of a volunteer role. It can just be one-off things. So it can sometimes just be a practical thing like delivering the hospital leaflets or coordinating that information. It doesn't have to be long-term at all. So for the formal side of things, we have 5 people that would like to be nominated as trustees going forward again for this year. We've also had nominations for 2 other people to join us on the board. These are Christopher Moore and Ben Rendell. Does anybody else here would anybody else here like to be considered for nomination to be on the board before we move forward in the process?
Be considered for treasurer.
Right, okay, thank you. We don't really assign officer roles until we get to the first meeting, but if you're still happy to be put forward as a trustee on that basis at this meeting, then we can certainly take that on board for you. If that's okay?
Yeah.
Lovely. All right, wow. Excellent, I wasn't expecting any. Great, thank you. So if you can, I'll put the motion to the meeting, and then we can talk about it a little afterwards in terms of how things move on from here. So in terms of the people that are being re-elected and the two people that we've already received formal nominations for, can I have a nominator for the motion that these individuals, the 7 individuals here, and also the 2 people that just kindly put their name forward to be put forward for election as trustees, please?
I'll propose.
Right. And can I have a seconder, please, as well?
I'll second it.
Right, thank you very much. Okay, and this is where we have to play make-believe a little bit. So, can we all pretend we're in the House of Commons, please, or another parliamentary organisation? So the motion is that the individuals, the current 5 individuals, Ben Rendell, Christopher Moore, and the 2 people that have just put their names forward be elected as trustees for the year 2014-2015. Can all those in favour please say aye?
Aye.
And do we have any nays, please? And just to complete the pantomime, do we have any abstentions? Right. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay. So if we can, if you want to pop up after at the end, and we can, or make sure we have your contact details, and we can sort the mechanics of it out for you. So, as I say, the nomination of the officers, the individuals, I think I've just pretty much covered it, who organise the officer roles we have at the moment, which are, in some senses, being, some people wear 2, if not 3, if not, I think James's hat, probably about 4 different hats. So, the formal roles we have at the moment are conference and events, fundraising, membership, volunteer coordination, communications, which is broken down into about 4 or 5 different things. Liaison and volunteering, and as I said before, any other one-off, so probably describe it as minister without portfolio. But, so we will allocate those at our next full meeting and go through things in more detail unless we have any questions in the meantime.